It's in our islands. And our waters. It's in our artistry. And across our land. It's in our history. And our cities. It's in all our stones that stand. It's time to come and find it. It's time to come and feel it. Scotland, a spirit of its own.
Well, hello, good morning. Good morning and welcome to the British Swimming Championships. 2016 is, of course, day one here at the Tollcross International Swimming Centre. I can't believe it's pretty much 2 years since we were last here for the Commonwealth Trials. It's gone so quickly. Of course, we've got that matter of a very big event, Rio 2016, coming up this summer. So lots and lots to play for over the next 6 days. Now, right here is the show to be at every morning and every evening, bringing you exclusive access to all the results live as they unfold. Interviews with the swimmers, coaches, managers, and a bit of backstage gossip as well, which is what we love. Now, we're kicking things off with a bang today. Now, I have a different guest with me in the studio every single day, but today I'm joined by former Olympic medalist Cassie Patton. Welcome to the studio, Cassie.
Hello, I'm so happy to be here. It's been so long since I was swam here. It was 2010, so
wow,
6 years ago.
Quite a long time ago.
Yeah, it's changed so much, but I've had a good gossip with all my friends, all my old coaches, so it's been wonderful to be back.
And what have you been up to in those 5 or 6 years?
Well, I'm
keeping yourself busy.
Yeah, I'm trained to be a teacher, so I'm being a PE teacher, so it's good. I can use my strength from swimming, although I don't do a lot of swimming. But back on Monday, straight back into a parents' evening.
Okay, so a little bit of a double life. Now, what have the swimmers been saying to you? What's the atmosphere like behind the scenes?
But it's electric. They're ready. They're eager to race. They haven't rested on their laurels. I know they've been training really, really hard. We had an amazing year last year at the World Championships. We picked up more medals.
Because that seemed to be a bit of a turning point, didn't it, for British
Definitely.
swimming?
I think that British swimming has been just going forward, and the people have been training so hard. And last year was just amazing. Now that is one step, and that's what this competition's about as well. That step onto Rio. So it's going to be great to see how fast they swim in these heats, ready for the finals this evening.
It certainly is. Now, just interestingly, I'll read a quick quote from Bill Furness in his pre-event piece of British Swimming. He said, "The British Championships are simply a means to an end." He then goes on to say they are just the next phase of a long and detailed preparation to perform on the day in Rio. This event is not the end in itself. Now, what sort of message do you think that's giving out to the swimmers?
I agree with him 100%. This is just a stepping stone. This isn't the end event. This is just one step on the way to Rio, and that's what it's all about. You don't want to do your best performance here 2 months before the Olympics, so that's what he's really trying to drive home for the swimmers.
Yeah, and important to recognise as well the young and up-and-coming talent, which we seem to have a lot of at the moment.
Definitely, we get those finals this evening, especially for the younger people who are going to be shown to be the next talent, maybe for 2020, the next Olympics in Tokyo.
Yeah, exciting times. Now, don't forget, keep us up to date with how much you're enjoying the live feed. Just the Twitter hashtag is BSC16. Keep us up to date and how much you're enjoying it, and all the swimmers that you're supporting as well. But now it's time for me to hand over to you, to our commentator cams. This is a bit of a unique experience for everybody. The legend that is Bob Ballard and former Olympic swimmer Ross Davenport. We're going to hand you over to those guys as well. Quickly taking a look, of course, at our events for today. Now, coming up, we have the men's 400 freestyle heats coming up straight away, women's 200 freestyle, men's 100 breaststroke, and women's 400 individual medley heats. Big races this morning to kick off day one, Cassie.
Definitely. James Guy first in, last heat this morning. He won 3 medals at the World Championships, got a silver in this event. Then we got the 200 metres freestyle, Jasmine Carling, the first of her events here. Probably her weakest, but she's 2 seconds quicker than the rest of the field, so that says something about Jazz. Onto the 100 metres breaststroke, the event that we all want to watch. Adam Peaty up against Ross Murdoch, and then kicking off the end of this session with the women's 400 metres IM. Hannah Miley against Amy Wilmot. Now, who's going to win that one? That's going to be a great
That's
event
certainly
to watch.
going to be a bit of a duel in the pool battle, isn't it? Are you
Definitely.
excited for this morning's session?
I'm so excited. These are some of my favourite events here this morning. I have a bit of a soft spot for James Guy. I've seen him develop from a really good youth swimmer up now to winning world medals, so it's been amazing. And he's not eating chocolate. I saw him earlier and he said that, you know, for someone who loves chocolate, he says he's not been eating any, so that's how focused and dedicated he is for this event.
That's commitment there, right
Yeah,
there, isn't it,
definitely.
Cassie?
Yeah.
You won't catch either of us doing
No,
that.
no.
But we're not world champions, so
No.
it's okay. It's absolutely fine. Well, Bob and Ross are ready behind the scenes, so let me hand you over to our commentator, Cam.
Morning, ladies. Welcome to Tollcross and Glasgow, and here we go with the Olympic trials. This is my 5th Olympic trials. How many have you done?
Well, I started in 2000 actually, so this is my 4th, but the first one is without being a swimmer. But
Right.
obviously, when was the last time you swam in the Olympic trials?
Yeah, I knew that coming nice and early. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Davenport. That's what you're in store for the next 6 days here at Glasgow. Hope you can stand the pace. Hope we can stand the pace. And we hope that James Guy can, Adam Peaty can, Jazz Carlin, all people that we hopefully will be talking about in August as potential medalists, of course, provided they make the team.
Certainly, as we've just already heard, that Bill's certainly putting an emphasis on this is the meet that people can qualify from, but this is not going to be the fastest time of the year. They want to have the step up when they go to the Olympic Games, and that's their best position. But it's really interesting that you see swimmers that we've heard about at the World Championships, the Commonwealth Games. But for me, the interesting thing is the swimmers that are going to break through. There is always a swimmer that breaks through onto the Olympic team that nobody has predicted beforehand.
And the depth is certainly coming through. We've seen that at junior level last couple of years. We've certainly seen it at senior level. Let's have a look at the start list for the first event. First of 6 heats that we will see of the men's 400 metres freestyle. So we're talking about the kind of 405, 406 brigade here. We're hoping that James Guy will go considerably quicker than that. There has been a 341 already posted this year, and James Guy will be, I think, probably setting his sights on around 341, 342, providing he makes the final tonight.
Yeah, certainly. He's going to be coming here this morning, hopefully to get the job done, get into the final tonight, and then certainly lighting those burners up and getting the nomination time to be selected come next week for the Olympic Games.
400 freestyle is an event in which Great Britain has a great pedigree. Paul Palmer was a silver medalist at the 1996 Games. 20 years ago, he did 348.01 to win that silver medal. They'll have to go considerably quicker, even to make a final in 2016. And probably looking at around 340. Ian Thorpe, of course, set the world record at the 2002 Commonwealth Games in Manchester in this event. First man to go into the 340 range. It seems a long time ago now, 14 years ago they set that world record in Manchester. The first heat of the men's 400 metres freestyle contains Luke Robbins of Millfield, Cameron Groot of Swansea Aquatics, James Gilly of Millfield, Jamie Scholes of Peterborough, Charlie Humphreys of Nova Centurion, Daniel Lee of the City of Peterborough, and Tony Joe Trent Oliver of Mount Kelly. So fastest in this field is, of course, lane 4, 4:04.35, the entry time for Jamie Scholes.
And it's certainly starting off, it is going to be the lane 4 and 5 is taking the first heat of this event, and day number 1 of the British Swimming Championships 2016 is in fact lane number 7 that's turning first in 27.86. It's got clear water either side of him, which will help certainly in the, I think a lot of the swimmers what they like to do is get in and get into the groove of the meet, and certainly when you heat number 1, day 1, and you've got this whole pressure of being the start of the competition. It's nice to get off to a good start, and as we're seeing that from lane 7 from Trent Oliver, he's going to be turning first at the 100 metre mark in the time of 57.91. Just mentioned about the clear water either side of him. There's no Daniel Lee from City of Peterborough. So he's going to have a feel that he's got this whole pool to himself, even though he's only got 2 lanes either side of him.
Well, the interesting thing is there is a late withdrawal of Daniel Lee of City of Peterborough in lane 6, so he doesn't actually have a marker beside him, so he's looking at, maybe that helps his swim too, that he's not actually racing somebody in the adjoining lane. The nearest swimmer to him is 2 lanes up, and that is Charlie Humphreys of Nova Centurion, but Interesting way to swim this. We've seen this swum different ways, haven't we, Ross, over the years? Grant Hackett, for example, in the 400 like to really go out strong and hold on. And we've seen the other method where people kind of just bide their time to the last 100, 150 and then kick on from there.
I think gone of the days now, and certainly back in my era, it went on the 200, where the 200 used to be a paced race where the first 100 was very even, and then it really put in the afterburners. You're seeing that with the 400 now, that these guys are literally going an all-out sprint for, what, 3 minutes, 3 minutes 40, 4 minutes. And I think that's the way to go now, and you're seeing it in lane number 7. And because you don't have the distraction of the swimmers either side of you, you can concentrate on your own race. And I know everyone says, you stand behind the blocks, you've got your own game plan, you've got your own race that you want to execute, but you can't help but get sucked into other people's mentality, especially when you're neck and neck with each other and you're only, 2 meters apart.
Well, I think that early pace might have done for Tony Joe Oliver, because he's finding it not quite as easy as he comes up with this 50. He's still just about in front, but James Gilly has moved into second place, 2:31. Obviously, all of these swimmers looking to go under 4 minutes for the first time if they possibly can. But it's the green cap of James Gilly I'm looking at from the Millfield Club. And, well, having said that Tony Joe Oliver was not looking quite as good on the third 50, it's looking all right coming in here for this turn, and he's going to be probably in second place. And also joining in the fray is Luke Robbins, also of Millfield, so it could be a Millfield 1-2. It is a Millfield 1-2 at the turn. James Gilly 3:02.12, so both of them possibly on course for a first sub 4 minute swim here.
Yeah, you're going to need a big last 100, but it's that James Guy effect. They are from the same club as James Guy in Millfield. And I was speaking to James Guy's dad actually in the foyer earlier, and he said that the Millfield guys are going to be swimming well this week, and I think it's going to be certainly something we're going to talk about a lot, is having that pinnacle figure within your club, and people now striving that there are new standards that he's set, and the younger swimmers want to emulate what success he's had.
James Gilly leads. Tony Joe Oliver's moved up into second place now, so it was a Millfield 1-2. It isn't anymore, but it looks like it could be a Millfield 1. Now, how close to that 4 minute barrier can any of these get in heat number 1? Coming in for the final touch, and it's going to be, by the looks of things, a Millfield 1-2. It's going to be James Gilly who's going to touch first, but 4 minutes has just come and gone. 4 minutes 3.73 for the winning time, which goes to James Gilly. Second place to Luke Robbins, who kept in the slipstream pretty well, and Cameron Croot with a really good finish in lane number 2, getting into third place. And the early pace setter Tony Joe Oliver back in fourth. Winning time again 4:03.73.
Yeah, so that early pace from lane number 7, Trep Oliver, certainly paid in the last 200, but a well even pace race from James Gilly from Millfield. A nice PB to set off the morning heat number 1. We move on to heat number 2.
Yeah, I think the majority of the swimmers in the upper echelon there did personal best, certainly on their entry times anyway, so a good start to the competition for them as we gradually move through to what will be the cyclically seeded heats very shortly, obviously including the likes of James Guy, Nick Granger et al. Stephen Milne in that as well. The even start to the second heat of the men's 400 metres freestyle. Max Murphy of City of Milton Keynes in 1. Tom Gingham of Millfield. They have a lot in this event. They do have a lot of 400 freestylers in Millfield, don't they? 3, Nathan Hughes of Hatfield. Team Ipswich's Regan Lloyd in 4. Harrison Coulter of Stockport in 5. George Taplin of Maidenhead in 6. Daniel Davis of Swansea in lane 7, and Ryan Retson of the First Club in lane number 8. This might be a more even spread here.
Yes, you'd like to think so, but I think, already, what are we, 10 minutes into the show, 10 minutes into the event, and you are going to see that real type battles between the younger swimmers, and it's really nice that they get their own final tonight, the Tokyo final, and we are actually watching, well, hopefully watching the future of British swimming, and having those role models in the senior ranks, the people like James Guy, people like Adam Peaty, Siobhan Marie O'Connor, all these people that are standing up on the international scene, delivering for their country, it does have a ripple effect, and it does filter down to the younger swimmers. And these guys want to emulate the success of their heroes. And like you mentioned, that the amount of 400 swimmers from Millfield, they're in pretty much every single heat. And that is that's the breed of the success of what we've had over the last couple of years within British swimming.
Make us feel very old in the commentary box. 3 swimmers in this race were born in this century, were born in the year 2000. There was just the one in the first, but we have 3 swimmers who were born in the year 2000 and also a couple in 1999 as well. So this is the future we're looking at for Tokyo in 4 years' time, and hoping that these will come through. And if we have this kind of depth coming from certain clubs, then that bodes well. Lane 3 it is. Nathan Hughes of Hatfield is actually leading at the 200 mark, 1:57.60, but so close, very tight grouping here with Thomas Kingham of Millfield in second place, and third is Harrison Coulter of Stockport Metro. But liking what I'm seeing so far. Hope he hasn't managed to go a little bit too early from Nathan Hughes, the Hatfield swimmer in lane 3, and it does, if anything, seem to be from our angle opening up a bit of a lead here.
Yeah, he's looking very, very smooth as well with 3 lengths to go. He's extending his lead over the rest of the field, but there's also a bit of a charge coming from lane number 4, I believe. Lane number 3 is Nathan Hughes. Is extending that lead over the rest of the field. He's looking very good, actually.
He's looking excellent, isn't he? And just keeping an eye on who might be coming to put a challenge up. And I don't see any challenge coming at the moment. He really is starting to open up those arms. Just having a quick look at his entry time. Well, he's never done 4 minutes. 4:02.01 is his entry time. So, well, it's going to be well inside that, the way things are going. 2:58.45 at the turn from Nathan Hughes. Thomas Kingham in second place from Millfield, and third is Stockport Metro's Harrison Coulter. Now, can he keep this going? Because this lead is actually getting longer with every stroke.
Certainly, he's gone to his legs now for the last 100, the final quarter of the race, and he is extending his lead. The battle now is between lanes 4, 5, 1 and 0 on who's going to get the second place, but there's no doubt who's leading this second heat of the men's 400 freestyle, and he's going to go under the 4-minute barrier mark, barring any certainly piano on the back of him, because he's absolutely flying down this final 25 meters.
Well, nobody's going to stop him. Just a question of what the clock's going to stop on. Let's see what he can do here in terms of time. Now, can he get, always going to be inside 4 minutes, definitely inside 4. Just a question of how much now for Nathan Hughes. 3:58.26, brilliant. As a real landmark for him, and he's won that by a considerable distance. Second place to George Taplin, and third place to Regan Lloyd of Ipswich. Harrison Coulter, who I'm reliably informed is James Goddard's cousin, finishing in 6th place. But that was a very, very impressive swim by Nathan Hughes. And again, we're talking about how this race is run and how people approach this race. He kind of went out there with a plan, right, I'm just going to break the back of the field, and that's exactly what he did. That's a sizable chunk, not only of his personal best, but in terms of the lead he got at the finish there.
Yeah, he swam his own race and nearly did a PB by close to 4 seconds, which is, you know, certainly what they'd have dreamed about coming into this competition.
Third heat of the men's 400 meters freestyle. We'll line up once they're in the pool. It will be Oliver Tennant in lane 1. Second lane occupied by Rhys Worth. Danny Fogg, who we normally associate with open water and 1500. So this is going to be a bit of a splash and dash for him, really, at 400. Going lane 3. Thomas Atkinson of City of Sheffield going in 4. Julian Lynn in 5. Ben Evans in 6. Then Kieran Bird and Nathan Wells, they have completed 50. And, well, we hope to see Daniel Fogg in the open water in Rio. 1500, of course, is another of his specialties. He's been a sub-15 swimmer. We haven't had that many sub-15s in this country, but he's one of them.
1500 later on in the week is going to be a fantastic race, but a brilliant start from Thomas Atkinson in lane number 4. Took about half a body length away from Daniel Fogg just on the start alone. The rest of the field have caught up now in the opening 100 metres, and it is in fact lane number 7, Kieran Bird, that's turning first in 56.54. So you're seeing the times coming down every single heat, as you would expect, and this race is looking very tight with 125 metres.
Yeah, so you know when we get to heats 5 and 6, we'll see Jay Lelliott, we'll see Nick Granger, we'll see Stephen Milne going in heat number 5, and in heat number 6 we'll have James Guy and Dan Wallace and Max Litchfield as well. So the big names in the 400 free, including our man who went to the World Championships on his first year really of international performance and made that final quite impressively. James Guy. We'll see how impressive he is a little bit later on when we get to see him in the final heat of the men's 400 freestyle. But here we are looking at heat number 3, and we're keeping an eye to see where Daniel Fogg is. Well, the answer is he's right at the front of the field, as maybe we would have expected, and he's going to have a lead at 200 and a lead of around about a second over Thomas Atkinson, and third place to Kieran Bird in lane number 7, closest to us, up by 1.
There's no open water for Daniel Fogg this year. Qualification was last year and he's been locked out because Jack Burnell has the qualification for that event. He's the first British swimmer to qualify for the Rio Games. But Daniel Fogg will not be there, so he's putting all his eggs into the 1500 basket. This is just going to be an event for him to get into the meet, to see how he's swimming. Been reliably informed that he's not fully shaved down for this, so there's plenty more to come from Daniel Fogg after this event in his more preferred pool event of the 1500 metres. But it's always nice to see swimmers come in first day, first event, and get a good swim under the belt, because that can set you up for the rest of the competition. And even if it's your teammate, because you always look to your teammate, and if they've had a good swim, you kind of feel, well, you've done all the training together, you've been coached by the same coach, and it gives you that confidence coming into the rest of the competition that if your team is doing well, then you can swim well, even if you're swimming right on the last day. But Daniel Fogg is swimming incredibly well in lane number 3.
It's not an event really he has put too much store by and much attention to over recent years, because obviously he's been looking at the much longer program, the 10K and the 1500. But it's good to see him a bit like David Davis did, where he was very much associated with 15, and he broke the British record in the 400 free. We're back in the old suit days, of course, but he did break the British record in the 400 free going back a few years. And Dan Fogg looking to go better than he ever has before, which is a 3:58. Well, it's going to be well inside that, the way things are looking. And can anybody give him any pressure, put him under any kind of difficulty? Well, it doesn't look like it. Looks like he's going to take it all the way through. Going to take it through at a decent time, certainly fastest time that we have seen so far this morning. And this is going to be considerably inside his entry time. 3:55.44 for Dan Fogg. Second place going to Thomas Atkinson. The 1-2 stayed pretty much the same throughout the course of that heat. 3:58.85 for Tom Atkinson, and third to Kieran Bird. So we have 3 under the 4-minute mark in that. Fourth place going to Nathan Wells in 4:02.91.
Yeah, so 3:55 for Daniel Fogg. You're probably seeing his 1500. He won't go out too much slower than that in his opening 400 and the 15. You can see as soon as he dives in, he's almost like he's sprinting. And for a guy that does the 10K, it is a sprint for him. But when you see somebody like James Guy later on, he's got a lot longer stroke rate, or certainly a lot slower stroke rate, a lot longer stroke length, and it just looks so much easier. And that's where the difference of a natural born 400 swimmer opposed to a 1500 and a 10K swimmer that has to get that stroke rate up to be able to sprint, certainly for 400 metres.
Question we can talk about later on when he swims is whether we see James Guy primarily as a 200 swimmer or a 400 swimmer. So when he came on the scene and made the World Championships final in 2013, I thought, well, here's a 400 swimmer. But then, of course, last year he actually betters that in the 200. So perhaps he doesn't know himself. Maybe he's still very young, still trying to find out, still trying to work out what is best for him. There's no reason why he can't do both and be very good at both. In fact, he is very good in both. But you normally associate a swimmer as being a 2 or a 4. And we'll find out how he looks in the 4 a little later on. We'll find out how Thomas Howley of Newcastle is looking in lane 1. I will give a mention to everybody, because I know there are clubs tuned into our stream today. I want to hear their swimmers mentioned. Brodie Williams of Millfield is in second, another Millfield 400 freestyler. Fraser Minican of Loughborough, the Loughborough lot, as ever, very upbeat and very hopeful of what's going to happen over the next 6 days. Tom Flaherty of City of Milton Keynes in 4. Angus Burr of East Kilbride, so not too far away for Angus, in lane 5. Samuel Budd of City of Sheffield in 6. Tom Derbyshire of Royal Wolverhampton in 7. And Jamie O'Connor of Planet Swim is in lane number 8. They complete 150. And it is Thomas Howley on the far side of the field. Under a bit of pressure. This isn't quite so much a one-man performance because Tom Derbyshire is right on his heels, although he won't be able to see him because he's a couple of lanes up. And getting closer to us and getting closer to the top two, Tom Derbyshire in lane number 7. So this race, I think, will develop in a slightly different way. We're not going to see somebody dominate this because they're all coming right back now onto the heels of Tom Howley, who leads at 200.
He certainly does, and you normally see that spearheaded formation where the fastest swimmers are in lane 4 and 5. The fastest swimmers are, in fact, in lane 4 and 5, but that's only the fastest times over the last year. So there's been lots of development, especially with the younger swimmers. They make massive gains, and some of these swimmers are probably not fully rested and tapered for an event for probably 8-9 months. So that's why you're seeing big drops. That's why you're seeing the likes of Thomas Howley in lane number 1 leading this heat, opposed to probably what, 3-4 seconds faster than lane number 5 currently. So that's why you can see it's a bit disjointed, but that will soon iron itself out when we get to the finals later on.
As we come towards us, I'm looking at 1, 4 and 7 pretty much in a line here. We'll get more of an idea when they come to the 15-metre marker because we're a bit of an angle, but no, that's how it looks, and still just about holding on. Looks to be lane 1, but all three are going to go to the wall pretty much together. Howley just in front of Derbyshire, who's just in front of Barr, so it's Newcastle leading from the Wolverhampton swimmer, and then third place to Angus Barr. Now this could go any which way, this race, because they are separated out, and I doubt very much whether lanes 7 and 4 have much of an idea what's going on in lane 1.
No, certainly won't do. 3:55.44 is the fastest time so far this morning. That was, of course, by Daniel Fogg. You're going to have to be a 58 last 100 if they're going to be faster than Daniel Fogg in the previous heat.
Turning into 50 to go, and Tom Derbyshire now at the front of the field. Angus Barr in second, and Thomas Howley, who has led for the majority of this race, won't be leading now. He's trying to put in a spurt over the last 50, but we'll keep an eye on the two who are locked together in lanes number 5 and 7, Angus Barr and Tom Derbyshire. And coming back with a great finish, Thomas Howley on the far side, when he obviously either heard me or heard the implication that he wasn't going to go on and win this. I think it's going to be tight between 1 and 7. 1 just gets it to Tom Howley, 3:57.64, and in the end there was only 3/100ths of a second between first and second. 3:57.67 for second place, and Angus Barr, well, all three of them separated by nothing at all. 1, 2, 3 separated by 0.3 of a second.
Yeah, so not as quick as the previous heat with Daniel Fogg. Still 3:55.44, the fastest so far this morning. 3:57.64 was the winner of the previous heat. Now we start to move into some of the big guys.
Yeah, we'll run the list past you in a moment, and some names you will recognise straight away coming up. On hold, and away they go for 8 lengths of this Toll Cross pool. Michael Gunning in 1 for London Aquatics, Swansea with Daniel Jervis. 3, Jay Lelliott of Bath, Nick Granger of City of Sheffield. Interesting to see what Nick can do. And remember, the top 8 go through. There's no semi-finals in the 400 or indeed any event this week. So it's straight to finals, so they've got to do the time in the morning, and they've got to do it pretty quickly to make that top 8. Stephen Milne of Perth City in 5, Cameron Curl of Millfield, another one from that club, in lane 6. Cameron Brown of City of Newport in 7. Alex Dunk of Prescott in lane number 8. Early stages indicates that Jay Elliott's got the march at the moment, but it's very early stages up against Nick Granger in 2nd. 3rd at the turn was Stephen Milne.
I love watching Stephen Milne race. He's just all-out attack, whether he's doing a 1500, a 400, he just goes for it. He is turning 3rd or stroke 4th at the minute, but look at his turns. He goes 7.5, 8 metres off every single wall, and that doesn't matter whether he's doing a 50 metres or whether he's doing a 1500 metres. He is technically, on his turns and his start, better than anybody else in the field. And you look at, we're going to compare him to James Guy later. Stephen Milne's skills on his turn are better than James Guy, and James Guy went on to get a silver medal last year at the World Championships. This is not Stephen Milne's main event, we'll have the 1500 later on in the week is, but you've got Nick Granger, Jay Lelliott, Daniel Jervis, another 1500 swimmer. Expect him to come back very, very strong. But these guys are wanting to post solid times in the morning without depleting their energy reserves, but they also want to get in a good lane because they're going to be up against the world silver medalist from last year, They want to push him all the way, if not beat him, and they want to be on that, certainly on the ahead of the selectors come Monday, to be in with a shout of going to the Olympic Games in Rio.
And all of them know they've got to aim for that 3:55. The marker set down by Dan Fogg earlier on. And at the moment, it's a bit of a Nick Granger sandwich. He's got Jay Lelliot one side, he's got Stephen Milne the other side. And Nick Granger is very strong at the back end. He's also a longer distance swimmer at 1500 as well. But at the moment, it is lane 3 and Jay Lelliot. What a great discovery he was for the Bath team. A couple of years ago, really burst on the scene. We had all of a sudden a whole raft of 1500 swimmers who were doing around about 15 minutes, and he was one of them. But he's in a right old battle with Stephen Milne at the moment. Nick Granger's not making any impact, but he has got another 100 to come when they turn here. But he knows that he's probably got enough in reserve to make that final tonight, though there is still another heat to come, so you can't take that for granted. And stroke for stroke, side by side, 2 lanes apart, Stephen Milne and Jay Lelliot. Who's going to get the touch on this one? It's going to be mighty close, probably just Lelliot. No, not quite. In the end, going to turn from Stephen Milne, and about a second adrift is Nick Granger in third. Fight to the finish here between these two.
He certainly is. Expect a strong finish from Nick Granger as well. Do you think he's more probably a 200 swimmer more than a 400 swimmer, but he can crack out a great 400. Talking about skills, Jay Lelliot is fantastic on his turns as well, which is great to see that swimmers are really paying attention on their skills, because that's where you can make massive gains. And it is neck and neck for these two yet again. There's only 0.3 of a second separating Stephen Milne and Jay Lelliot in the final 50 metres.
Right, what's going to happen? There's always bragging rights here, although it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. When you want to win is tonight, but you do want to head your opposition. Granger's going to have to accept third place here, but who's going to take first? Jay Lelliot in 3, furthest away from the camera, or Stephen Milne closest to us? They're going to go into the wall pretty much together, but Stephen Milne's going to get there. 3:48.81 is the time for Stephen Milne, and the second place time for Jay Lelliot, 3:49.23. Nick Granger in third, 3:50.59. So those are the fastest times in that heat. So we're down to the 3:48. We know James Guy will probably go considerably quicker than that. And the result, Stephen Milne, Jay Lelliot, 1, 2, 3. 3:50.59 for third place for Nick Granger. Alex Dunk finishing in fourth place.
I know swimming's moved on incredibly, but you know, I don't want to kind of bring up the past and bring up the dinosaur ages that certainly, Bob, you'll remember very, very well. But that kind of times that we've just seen there was qualifying for the 2004 Olympic Games, 2000 Olympic Games, and yes, okay, swimming's moved on incredibly, and that is a long time ago. It just shows you that we are starting to mix it now, and we have to. The way the selection policy is, and the way that there's certainly no semi-finals, but there is never a semi-final on the 400. These guys have got to swim quick in the morning to be able to get a lane for the final, to be able to even just think about getting the qualification standards for going on the plane to Rio.
Personally, I quite like to see that Paul Biederman world record go, because it was one of the shiny suit world records that was set back in Rome, I think, 2009. Biederman's world record, and that one could easily be expunged from the books as far as I'm concerned. James Guy leads at 50. Well, actually, he's joint leader with City of Sheffield's Matt Litchfield. Let's give you the 1 to 8. Yain Lloyd still going for City of Cardiff in 1. Tim Shuttleworth of Loughborough in 2. Max Litchfield, I mentioned, in 3 with James Guy in 4. Dan Wallace going in 5 for Warrender. 6 is Caleb Hughes, another one of those 1500 specialists. 7, Carl Chisholm of Borough of Kirklees, and Matt Johnson, who started in Sheffield, now down in Bath, and he is in lane 8. Probably better known as a butterfly swimmer, Matt Johnson.
Yeah, very good junior swimmer, Matt Johnson, trying to make that transition into the senior ranks. But when you've got somebody like James Guy, who was born in 1995, going on to win the World Championships in the 200 and a silver medal in the 400, you can just see his class now. He's starting to stretch that field. Comfortable opening 100 metres. You know, this is a tough heat as well. You know, Dan Wallace has had a fantastic year, or fantastic 2 years. Trains out in Florida, but associated with Warrender Baths. You've got Max Litchfield, City of Sheffield, made the Commonwealth Games team 2 years ago. There is that depth now in British swimming, certainly in this event, that is pushing the likes of James Guy and the likes of Nick Granger, Jay Lelliot, Stephen Milne to that next level, and I think without that depth, people like James Guy cannot go to the international stages and really push themselves and really push the likes of Sun Yang. You know, James Guy was winning with 50 metres to go last year at the World Championships.
151 split for James Guy, who doesn't look to be exerting himself at all. There's plenty in reserve there. He's doing exactly what he needs to do. It's not quite a training swim. It's a little bit level up from that, but he's certainly not busting a gut. That'll be tonight when he really needs to go for it. But even though he's not really going for it, it's all looking great. 2:20.77, although he was level at 50, hasn't been level ever since. Max Litchfield in second place for the city of Sheffield, then Tim Shuttleworth of Loughborough in 3. And fourth place to Ieuan Lloyd. But this is a procession, as we kind of expected it would be, but he's just looking so controlled, so smooth, and it's almost like he's not putting any effort in there, but everything is pretty much looking like it's in exactly the right kind of proportions.
He's looking incredibly smooth, and if you can see the swimmers behind him, they're all making huge amounts of splash. They're all fighting to get the positions now because they want to get into that final. But James Guy is showing his class here. He's hardly gone to his legs. He's got 75 metres to go, and he looks like he's swimming down already.
He does, and it's amazing. That bodes well for tonight. If he's looking this good in the morning, how good will he look tonight? Well, there is a massive gap opening up between him and the rest. They're having a good old scrap for second. But unless he really eases off now, and who would blame him for doing so, James Guy will win this by considerable distance. Tim Shuttleworth in second for Loughborough, Max Litchfield in third. Now, James Guy will not want to be headed. He is the ultimate competitor, but he'll be aware that there's a little bit of splash to his left coming from Tim Shuttleworth and Max Litchfield, and they are getting close to James Guy as he eases down. It's like somebody's just pulled the plug out. I'm just going to go, oh, it's a bit of a stretch. Oh, it's not going to be a great finish. Bit of a glide at the end.
Wow.
3:48.74 for James Guy. Another 3:48 registered by him. He's got at least 5-6 seconds in the tank there, you would hope, for later on today. Tim Shuttleworth in second for Loughborough, and third place to Max Litchfield. That's 3 all under 3:50. And fourth place going, in fact, 4 under 3:50, with Ieuan Lloyd making 3:48.97. So that's the end of the first event, the 400 freestyle. We'll give you the qualifiers in just a moment before we head down. James Guy, Stephen Milne, Tim Shuttleworth and Jay Lelliott. Max Litchfield through as well to that final later on today. Back to Hannah.
So, Cassie, first event of the competition. Bit of pressure to say the least, but there seemed to be some relaxing swims, surprisingly relaxing swims there.
Definitely. I mean, the first event is always quite hard. You have to get in there. You need to know how you're feeling. A lot of the people have those nerves, those pre-race nerves, and after that first heat, it really kind of eases. It gets so much easier. We saw James Guy on his last 50. He was miles ahead going into the last 50, and then he just relaxed. Now, a lot of people might think, oh, is he slowing down? But actually, he's just kind of, you can see here, he's kind of playing with the field. He's saying, right, I'm just going to do enough so I enter, go into that final in first place, but not so much that I'm getting tired. And you can really see that here. The last couple of strokes into the finishes, he basically stops. He has a little cup of tea, but then he goes into that final in first place. And that's the kind of class that he is. He is world silver medalist, and he just looked amazing.
Yeah, in tune enough to know how much to do to get himself where he needs to be.
Definitely.
To perform.
I mean,
even
to the
better
point
later.
where he's like a tenth of a second going in first place. So that's the kind of margins that we're playing with here. But you know what? He's going to go in there, lane 4, kind of the favourite to win. There's going to be pressure on him. But knowing James, he'll be able to take that. He'll be able to deal with that and strive off that, rather than it being such a big deal that it kind of gets into his head.
Yeah, and for a swimmer on the world stage, he's obviously very experienced. He knows exactly what these events are all about, and he knows exactly what he needs to do to perform to get to where he needs to be.
And we saw that perfectly then on that clip we just saw. He was literally just finishing. He did enough in the first 300 to put him in the perfect position to be able to ease off the gas and then rest up. He's got 8 hours, he'll go back, have a good sleep. If he's anything like me, that's the main priority between sessions. Good sleep, good food, get his head back ready for racing this evening.
Okay, well, thanks for that insight there, Cassie. Now, don't forget, if you're having a great time watching the live stream, I'm sure you are, because we've seen some fantastic performances already this morning. Don't forget, we're live. I'm going to pass you over to Bob and Ross.
Next on the programme is the women's 200 metres freestyle. We will see Jazz Carling go a little later on, as was mentioned by the girls earlier. Not her best event. Her best events certainly are the 8 and the 4, but she'll give the 200 a good crack, and she's probably still the best that we've got at the moment, but that will be determined by the heats that we're about to see of the women's 200 meters freestyle. An event in which Great Britain's done pretty well over the years, certainly with our relay team. We have the World Championship winners in Fukuoka going back a little while. And we've always had decent depth in the 200 freestyle. Hopefully there's going to be some youngsters to come through now, because we certainly need a few more to make up that relay squad. First one has Jasmine Holmes of Poole in 2, no lane 1. Sophie Millen of Wickham in 3. Eva Vickery of City of Coventry in 4. Grace Cannell of Rushmore in 5. Leah Crisp of City of Leeds in 6. And Laura McNabb of Aquasulis going in lane number 7.
So I mentioned already that this competition is going to be the competition where people are going to be able to post times, and they're going to be, those times are going to be put in front of the selectors on Monday, and a team's going to be announced for Rio. But the importance is also on the youth swimmers coming through, and this is what we're seeing right now. The swimmers that are, yes, they've got 2 eyes on, or certainly 1.5 eyes on Rio, but they've got half an eye on the Tokyo swimmers, because there needs to be a legacy, and a legacy from London 2012, and I think we are seeing that. Okay, we didn't get the results we wanted in London, but there is that legacy coming through, that more people are trying to get into swimming, more people are wanting to come to the events like this and to qualify for the Olympic Games. So Rio is a really important message coming out of this competition, but also so is Tokyo and beyond, and that's what hopefully we are seeing in the future here. And if we can nail the skills and ingrain certainly the younger swimmers to be technically perfect at an early age, it'll only help them for when they get older into their senior careers.
Yeah, talking of getting older and feeling older, we have a swimmer in lane 6. We have 2 swimmers born in 2001 in this race. We have somebody from 2001 who's actually leading the race. Leah Crisp of Leeds. We'll be aware that Sophie Millen is coming up alongside her from Wickham, and maybe the Wickham swimmer is going to take it ultimately, but what a good swim by Leah Crisp. Look at her entry time, which is 2:06.44, and that is a 2:05.51 for Leah Crisp, so an improvement for her, and improvement too for Sophie Millen of Wickham in 2nd place, 2:05.89, and 3rd place going to Eva Vickery in 2:07.46. So Leah Crisp, one of the 2001 team, if you like, the 15-year-olds, showing what she could do potentially.
A great start to the meet, and a great start for Leeds as well. Always historically been a very, very strong club, and the first swimmer of the competition is posting over a 2nd PB. The coach will be extremely happy with that, and it does set you up for a great week.
Heat 2, we have a full contingent for this. 8 lanes all occupied. Athena Clayson of Mount Kelly in 1, Anna Smale of Ellesmere in 2, Anna Southold of Ellesmere in 3, Jane Brown as the fastest entry time in lane 4 for Newcastle, and then in lane 5 is Polly Holden, Rachel Anson of Millfield, Millicent Rowledge of Bracknell, and Lulu Voss of Hillingdon going in lane number 8. Bit more of a spread on this one, and Jane Brown of Newcastle in lane 4, setting the pace alongside Millicent Rowledge in lane 7.
Yeah, it is lane number 4. Jane Brown from Newcastle turning first, 29.09. Their entry times all around the 2:5.26, which are just seen from Leah Crisp from Leeds in the opening heat. So the swimmers will have seen that, they've seen the standard, the benchmark that they need to get. And again, they're fighting for that Tokyo final spot tonight, and the junior final spots as well. So there's competitions within competitions in this competition, and it's great that we are seeing the depth of British swimming come through.
What a 2nd 50 from Athena Clayson there in lane number 1. It wasn't in the shake-up at 50, but 100 she is leading in 61.11. Millicent Rowledge in 2nd place, and 3rd at that turn was Lulu Voss of Hillingdon, but that was a fantastic 2nd 50 by Athena Clayson, who wasn't even in the shake-up. Now, hopefully she's paced this race well, because I didn't even see her at 50, but 100, she's at the front.
Yeah, we talk a lot about the 200s and about that 3rd 50. You've got to get to the 100 mark within contention, but then you've got to really drive on that 3rd 50. People tend to back up, and especially at this age when they're certainly learning about tactics and technique, people tend to back up on that 3rd 50, and that is when you can really steal the march on the swimmer next to you or swimmer in your heat, and then you drive for the wall down the final 50.
That's exactly what has happened here. She slipped back. Meanwhile, Lulu Voss of Hillingdon in lane 8 has come through very strongly and is probably going to take this heat. Clayson's trying to get back in the race in terms of the front of the race, but she's not going to overtake Lulu Voss, who finishes in 2:05.63 for Hillingdon. Second place going to Rachel Anderson, again of Millfield, having a good morning, 2:06.02 for her. And third place going to Athena Clayson, who was our leader at halfway, 2:06.68 in heat number 2.
So another improvement from Lulu Voss on her entry time. Her entry time was 2:06.3, to 2:05.6. So an improvement on her entry time, and certainly will put her in contention for the final spot tonight. But we'll see what the preceding heats have got to offer us.
Two more 2001 born swimmers here, including Freya Anderson of Ellesmere in lane number 3, and Annika Davison, who goes for Newcastle, in lane number 6. The full order: Amber Mason for Leeds in 1, Rebecca Camus of City of Birmingham in 2, Freya Anderson I mentioned in 3, Megan Bowen, Mount Kelly in 4, Bethany Newton of Street in 5, Davison in 6, Isabel Griffiths of City of Birmingham in 7, and Amy Grant from your neck of the woods, from City of Derby.
It's a lovely place, Derby.
It is a lovely place, so I'm told.
I think it's also a battle of the international coaches as well. You've got lane number 2, City of Birmingham, coached by Adam Rookwood. Lane number 3, Ellesmere College, by Alan Bircher, international in the open water event. And lane number 8, City of Derby, coached by Mel Marshall, who's an Olympian in her own right. So there'll be bragging rights on poolside, but it's all about what the swimmers do in the pool that really matters.
And lane 5, Bethany Newton is the one who's showing the cleanest pair of heels at 100. She'll lead under the minute mark, 59.60 for her. Second place going to Megan Bowen at the halfway stage, and third is Rebecca Cameron at the moment. Poor old Amy Grant struggling a bit for Derby, closest to us and not really in contention.
You're seeing that perfect spearhead formation now. The fastest swimmer is in lane number 5, and the rest of the swimmers are tailing off behind her. But, you know, a lot of it comes down to age as well. Amy Grant's, a couple of years younger than some of these girls, but it is actually Megan Bowen who's the youngest, 97 age, in lane number 4. So different ages, different competitions, as we've already mentioned, within these races. But there's no doubt who's leading this current heat number 3, and it is Bethany Newton from Street.
She's doing very well in lane number 5. They're starting to come back to her a little bit, but I think she's got enough in reserve now with coming up to the 15-metre mark. She's looking to her right. She'll see Isabel Griffiths. Looking further over her shoulder, and she'll see Annalie Davison. But this is going to be all about Bethany Newton. Just holding on for the touch. Getting close, getting close. Does she get it? No, she doesn't. Yes, she does. Just gets you Bethany Newton in 2:04.84. She gets it by 14/100ths of a second in the end over Annalie Davison, right on the touch. Slightly better touch of the two. Isabel Griffiths in third place. Fourth going to Amber Mason. And that winning time was 2:05.54 for the winner.
It really got tight towards the end. You know, it certainly looks like lane 5 was swimming through treacle towards the end, but it got a hand on the wall first, just ahead of the fast finishing swimmer next to her.
Heat number 4, and I'll give you the lowdown on this. Rebecca Murray of First Club in 1, Tasmin Pugh of Ellesmere in 2, Murray Davis of Swim Gwynedd in 3, Eleanor Jones of Swansea in 4, Rebecca Sherwin of Team Ipswich 5, Darcy Deakin of City of Sheffield in 6, Katie Reynolds of Burnley in 7, and Hayley Monteith in lane number 8. This is heat number 4, fastest in the field in terms of entry time, Eleanor Jones on a 2:02.5.
Great start from lane number 8, Hayley Monteith from Edinburgh. She's just slipped back now, going into the opening 50, but a fantastic start and underwater work. But it is Rebecca Sherwin from Team Ipswich who turns first, 28.37. Just 0.3 ahead of Eleanor Jones. Eleanor Jones, of course, went to the Commonwealth Games in this very pool for Team Wales, swimming for Swansea Aquatics.
We're talking about 200 freestylers. Karen Pickering was trained by Dave Champion at Ipswich, as indeed is Rebecca Sherwin in lane number 5. And she will turn just ahead, I mean just ahead, by 4/100ths of a second from Eleanor Jones, 2 going, in fact 3 going under the minute mark at the turn. Hayley Monteith there as well. Nothing to choose really between all 3 of them right now. It's only less than half of a second between first and third. And we'll see whether lane 4 or lane 5 held sway here for Mari Davis to make her move in lane number 3. She's starting to do that too. This is going to be very tight on the turn as they go into the last 50. Mari Davis is up to her stroke rate and right alongside Eleanor Jones, who just leads from Rebecca Sherwin. Mari Davis in the mix now too, and Hayley Monteith is keeping in 3rd place.
And these swimmers really do have to put a strong performance in this morning. This is unlike a normal British Championships where there's no semi-finals for the 200, so straight to the final. And if you want to be contesting for selection for the Rio Olympic Games, you need to be in that championship final and you need to be in the top 8. Ellen Jones having a fantastic last half of the race.
Yeah, the Swansea Aquatic swimmer is going to come in to touch first. Question, what kind of time can she do? Answer is 2:02.39 for the Swansea swimmer. And Hayley Monteith, who was mentioned early on by Ross in the first 50, kept up that pace all the way through. Finished in 2nd, 2:02.72, and 3rd place going to Rebecca Murray in lane 1. Good finish from her, the time of 2:02.20. So 4 swimmers under 2:03 there. Mari Davis, the other one from Swim Gwynedd, in 4th place. But we're going to get into the main movers and shakers very soon as we go into heat number 5. Heat number 5 contains one of our Olympians from 4 years ago, Ellie Faulkner. I know that Sean Kelly, Stockport, has very high hopes of Holly Hibbert, hoping that she can do something special here. Lauren Quigley, of course, going in this as well. Lauren, very versatile swimmer. She does a lot. She does backstroke, she does freestyle. Not as much that she doesn't do, but there's high hopes from Sean of his 2 charges here. Holly in 6th and Lauren in 8th. Give you the others. Hannah Featherstone of Sedgefield in 1, Lucy Hope of Edinburgh in 2, Camilla Hattersley of Glasgow in 3. And on to Georgia Coates, the other side of Eleanor Faulkner. She goes in 5. Holly Hibbert in 6. 7 is Rebecca Guy of City of Manchester. And lane 8 is Lauren Quigley. And at the 50 split, Rebecca Guy in front.
Certainly is in lane number 7. City Manchester Aquatics narrowly ahead of Lauren Quigley from Stockport. So the Manchester clubs are really taking this heat. And you saw again, I'm going to talk about it a lot this week, but Lauren Quigley's start, she took the whole 15 metres underwater, and that is coming from a background of a backstroke heritage, that she has a great underwater, and it put her right in front of the contention in the opening 50. Okay, now she's slipped back to 7th in that 50. She's not a freestyler, but the more historic freestylers are now starting to come through. Georgia Coates, a great junior in lane number 5, starting to edge to the edge of the pack. Eleanor Faulkner, as you mentioned, was in the Olympic Games in 2012 from City of Sheffield. So these 2 swimmers now are starting to stretch the rest of the field.
Well, this is going to be quite a tight one if it's looking like it looks as they come towards 150, because Ellie Faulkner is in the mix. Camilla Hattersley in the mix likewise, and so too is Georgia Coates. That's the 1, 2, 3. Coates, Faulkner and Hattersley at the moment, but they are separated by next to nothing, and this last 25 is going to try and separate them out. It might well be Georgia Coates at the moment. Ellie Faulkner doesn't want to let it get too far away. Likewise, Camilla Hattersley in lane number 3, and Ellie Faulkner, with her experience from the Olympics, is coming through, but has she come through quickly enough? Right alongside Georgia Coates. Georgia Coates is just going to get to the wall first and wins it in a time of 1:59.09. We have 3 swimmers under 2 minutes there too. 1:59.09 for Georgia, 1:59.44 for Ellie Faulkner, and Camilla Hattersley in 1:59.97. So only 1 swimmer had, in terms of their entry time, gone sub 2 minutes before this morning. 3 did there.
Great time from Georgia Coates, improving her entry time by over a second. And you are seeing a start of her to come into her own now and growing of age. Like I said, she was a very, very good junior swimmer, a multi-eventer, and now she seems to be homing in on the freestyle events, and that was a fantastic swim to open up her week.
The leader finishing in 8th place in the end, Rebecca Guy, 2:03.32. On to the penultimate heat, and there will be a few names you'll recognise in this one, including the swimmer in lane number 1, one of our Olympic medalists. Not in this event though. Kerry-Ann Payne goes in 1 for Warrender. Libby Mitchell of Swansea in 2. Amelia Morn in 3 for Keynsham. Bristol, Rebecca Turner of City of Sheffield, another one of our Olympians from 2012 in 4, Anne Bockman. Is this going to be Anne's meet? People have been talking about Anne for a long time when she was at Norwich. Now she's down in Bath. She's in 5. Jessica Jackson of Plymouth in 6. She's got some great times this year, so we're going to keep an eye on her in lane 6. Harriet Cooper of City of Derby in 7. And Ellen Thomas of Guildford in lane number 8. They're nearly towards the end of the 15. This is going to be a hard one to separate.
So we'll have to be looking at the scoreboard to see who turns first. It is actually Harriet Cooper from City of Derby, 27.86. But you mentioned Anne Bockman had a nasty injury last year, starting to coming back from that, and hopefully she's had a big block over the winter and she can really certainly push for places now, because she's been a huge talent. Amelia Morn is kind of in that ilk as well. She actually quit for a couple of years and now she's come back. Very talented young swimmers and very tall as well, big framed girls that we've had in the past that we need to have to compete in the rest of the world.
Right, who's going to be in front here? Again, the scoreboard has to separate them. Anne Bockman it is, 58.84. This is pretty quick in the heat. Second place to Harriet Cooper and third place to Ellen Thomas. But this can change and will change, I think, because look, all 8 swimmers pretty much in a line. And I put it, if you stop the race now, I wouldn't want to call this because it's wide open.
It certainly is, and there's going to be a fast finish from Rebecca Turner. She always finishes strong. Anne Bockman, has she got that race experience that she's probably lacked from being injured over the last couple of months? It's actually shown up on our screen. It's Kerry-Anne Payne turning first, the 10k specialist, the Olympic medalist from back in 2008. She's actually taken to, this is a sprint first. It's not even a, she didn't register this on a 10k, but she's actually turned first with 50 meters to go, and she's powering through. Yeah, what a fillip it would be if she could win this. It's going to be very tight. Libby Mitchell's in the mix. Rebecca Turner's coming right back. Rebecca Turner has a great finish, but she's not going to overtake Kerry-Anne Payne. This will be a surprise. Kerry-Anne Payne's going to get to the wall first. 2:00:32, so nobody's gone under the 2-minute barrier there. The previous heat was quicker. 2:00:74 for Rebecca Turner, who did finish quite strongly, but not strongly enough to overtake Kerry-Anne Payne. Libby Mitchell in third place in 2:01:81, and Bockman 2:01:35, faded a bit towards the end. That was a huge surprise, really. Kerry-Anne Payne from lane number 1. I said she's such an expert in that open water, and even the 800 is quite too short for her. She really excels in those longer distance. A real endurance swimmer, posting her 2 minutes. That's going to set her up fantastically well for that 800 later on in the week. The 4th fastest time so far with 1 heat to go. She could be in contention for that championship final. Hopefully watching in is the British record holder, Jo Jackson. It's her baby, and we'll be hoping for things to go well. She is listening in, so Jo, welcome to you, and keep a beady eye on your British record, see whether it can go. Jazz Carlin is in this field. Elizabeth Harris of Stockport in 1, Hannah Burville of Woking in 2, Jessica Thielman of Derwentshire, based in the States these days, is in 3, Jazz Carlin in 4, Georgina Boyle in 5, and Chelsea West. She's had some really good results this year as well. Watch out for her. Sophie Smith of Loughborough in 6, Catherine Greenslade of Preston in 7, and Maya Westlake of the City of Sheffield going in lane number 8. So there's a couple of swimmers I'm quite interested to see. Georgina Boyle has really had some good performances, and she's up there on our rankings at the moment, so can she back it up here? Yeah, I think certainly in this heat number 7 you're seeing a lot of swimmers that we've seen over the years be very, very good junior swimmers, and now making that transition into the senior ranks and really trying to push the likes of Jazz Carlin. But it is Jazz Carlin that's opening this first 100 metres. Is Sophie Smith with a fantastic turn in lane number 6 from Loughborough University. This again is too short for Jazz, even though she's probably one of our better swimmers on the 200. Siobhan Marie O'Connor is chosen not to enter this event, to concentrate on other events later on in the week. But this will be a warm-up for Jazz. Get in there, get 1 swim under the belt. It still is an important swim for her, but if she was to qualify for this event in Rio, I don't think she'll choose to do it, because the world has moved so far on, and her, if you're going to put her eggs in any basket, it's going to be the 8 and the 400. Well, she's over a second clear of Catherine Greenslade. I'm waiting for the charge now to come, maybe from Georgina Boyle in lane number 5, but we know who's going to win this race. We've known who's going to win this race from the off, pretty much. Question of who's going to get second place and who's going to get, remember, only top 8 qualifying for the final, so you can't hold back on this. Georgina Boyle is coming right back. Good finish from her. She's going to claim second place. 2:00:91 for Georgina Boyle,
and Catherine Greenslade in third in 2:01.19. So that was a nice blowing the cobwebs off swim, I call that, for Jazz Carlin. She has bigger fish to fry later in the week. She's got the 400 freestyle and the 800 freestyle, and you know, she will be hoping to be in medal contention in both of those, provided she makes the team later on in the year. But the 200, well, it's a bit of fun, and certainly does get her in hopefully the right kind of frame of mind for later in the week.
Yeah, Susie's going to set her up well. But it looks like to me that Kerry-Anne Payne's going to make that championship final. It's a big surprise to her. I know she wasn't suddenly envisioned swimming in that final tonight, so it'll be a good confidence boost for her for the rest of the week.
Yeah, so Jazz makes that final very comfortably indeed, and Georgia Coates comfortably in there as well. That's the 200 freestyle completed, with 2 more events to come. Let's hear from Hannah from Cassie.
What an exciting morning we've had so far. I mean, with 2 events gone already, loads of tweets coming in. Don't forget the hashtag is BSC16. Our furthest watcher is actually Hannah Gregory, who's in New Zealand at the moment. So shout out to you and thanks for watching. So don't forget, keep those tweets coming in. But let's go back to the swimming. That was pretty interesting to watch.
It was definitely. I mean, I think the shout out I've got to give is to Kerry-Anne Payne. I used to train with her. She won the silver medal in front of me in Beijing, and she just did incredible then. She went 2 minutes, 0.32.
Which she wasn't expecting herself, was she?
No, not at all. I mean, being a distance swimmer, carrying that speed and having that speed and going into a 200. If you think Kerry-Anne normally swims a 10k and that's a 200 meters, that's not even a warm-up when you do a 10k. So that was incredible. But then seeing Jazz, she just made it look so easy then on that last 50. She really stretched away from the crowd, finishing there in 1:59, just looking lovely. Can see her coming in now into this final 5 meters, and considering Jazz's best stroke is the 800 meters freestyle, she looks hot tip to win this event.
And did you expect to see a performance like that from Jazz today?
Yeah, I think having a chat with her parents yesterday, she's quite nervous coming into these events, and it's good to have nerves, and it's good to get an event like this, which isn't her best event, out the way, done and dusted. So when it does come up to the 800 metres freestyle, the 400 metres freestyle, she feels so much more confident into it. But you can see she's got the speed. The only person, well, one of the only people under the 2-minute mark, the magic 2-minute mark, and I know that she's going to have so much more to come. I reckon she's going to get close to the British record. That might be something to see later.
Yeah, well, plenty to be watching later on. I'm going to hand you back over to Ross and Bob.
We will see a world record holder, indeed a world champion, coming up very soon. That is Adam Peaty of City of Derby, going in 100 breaststroke. But the interesting thing is who can get alongside him and maybe potentially push for a place on that Olympic team in August. Well, we'll see the main movers and shakers in that consideration later on. Obviously not early on here, because we've got several heats of the men's 100 breaststroke. We have 7 in full, and first one contains just 3 swimmers. They come from Barnsley, from Mount Kelly and Middlesbrough. Thomas Speed is in 3, Olivier Tavernet in 4, and Liam Bolland in lane number 5. And we're talking about entry times here in the 106. In fact, they're all pretty closely grouped in the 106s here. So they'll be looking to knock a massive portion of their time away. And at the moment, because they've all got pretty similar entry times, they're also very closely matched here. And probably just on the nod, because you can tell with the nod, Oliver Tavernet just being edged out by Liam Bolland, with Thomas Speed in 3rd.
Yeah, it's great. I love it when you see just 3 swimmers in, because it is that head-to-head race, and you don't get distracted with people on the outside lane when you're in that centre lanes, and that's when you really get some performance. You see it a lot in swim-offs, that the time they're doing a swim-off is so greater than they did in the heats or the semi-finals beforehand. It's because it's that head-to-head race, and a super fast finish coming from Oliver Tavernet in lane number 4.
Isn't it brilliant? And he's one of the 2001 intake as well, and he's going to do, and then yeah, he has done personal best, just waiting next. You never know where the breaststroke finishes, whether it's quite right or not, but he's got his in there. 1:05.75 is his time, so he's gone into the 65s for the very first time. Second place to Liam Bolland, 1:06.33, and Thomas Speed, 1:06.59. And these are the kind of swimmers, the 2001 brigade, that we are looking at now for Tokyo, and maybe beyond, actually, for 2024.
Certainly are, and all those 3 guys improving on their entry time. Let's see what the next heat have to offer us. But you're right, you track back Adam Peaty's record, and you know he wasn't really on the radar at 10, 11, 12, 13 years of age. Then he starts to make some inroads, and by the time he gets to 18, is world record holder or 19 world record holder. So it can have a very steep upward curve, and these swimmers have to keep their feet on the ground and look at what he's emulated, or sort of what he's achieved, and try and emulate that, and try and work as hard as they can.
I haven't got time to tell you all the swimmers in this one, but Craig Barnes in 3 for South Ayrshire, James McFadden of Wickham in 4, and Benjamin Lawton of Aquasulis are the 3 with the fastest times going into this heat. And it will just be Conor Bryan of Oxford, something I haven't mentioned, in lane number 6, second to James McFadden, and third to Benjamin Lawton of Aquasulis in 3rd place. Now, keep an eye on lane number 6, Conor Bryan, who was leading at 50. He's going to lead 100. Well, there's a big challenge coming from lane number 4 from James McFadden. He's got a lovely stroke, really wide open stroke, and he really is getting full leverage out of that. 4 and 6 virtually together here. McFadden, I think, is just going to edge him. James McFadden of Wickham, they've got their new pool, and they have a winner, or do they? No. Conor Bryan got the better finish in, 106.04 for the Oxford swimmer. Just up the road in Wickham is James McFadden, 106.27, and 3rd place going to William Ritchie in 107.25. Question I will ask you here, Ross, is this is probably the event in British swimming where we have the best record. Male 100 breaststrokers, you can reel them off. David Wilkie, Duncan Goodhue, Nick Gillingham, Adrian Morehouse. Then in more recent times, James Gibson's a world championship medalist. We had Chris Cook, the first man to go sub 60. We're just, you know, it's like a production line with 100 breaststroke. Is there any particular reason for that?
I don't think anyone can put their finger on why Britain can produce male 100 breaststrokers. Certainly when you look at the females, we don't tend to have that heritage and that strength and depth in the female ranks, but it's a lot of it is to looking up to your idol. I remember talking to James Gibson, Darren Mew, Chris Cook. They all looked up to the older guys, the Duncan Goodhue, Adrian Morehouse, and watching them go to the Worlds and the Olympics and win medals. And these guys will be doing that with Adam, and people sat at home will be looking at Adam, wanting to become the next male breaststroker. So it's that kind of success breeds success.
Right, in this race, John Senior of City of Sheffield on the far side, a very, very good start. Is he going to be leading at the turn? Not quite. Yaron Gerber is in front from Barnet Copthall, a club we haven't mentioned that often in recent times, but that's looking like a good prospect for them. Millfield for Joshua Lawson in 2nd place. They come back with 25 to go, and there's 3, 4 pretty much in the line, 5 now, because they're all starting to come back on each other, and only really out of the race is the Sheffield Tour on the far side, because this is going to be a very tight one between 2, 3, 4 and 5, and I think lane 4 is going to get it. Yaron Gerber, who did lead at 50, I think is going to get the touch. They're coming very fast. It's George Clough in lane number 2, and he gets 2nd place behind Yaron Gerber. Winning time for Gerber is 105.39. Clough in 2nd, 3rd for Jake Dixon, 105.66. Remember, only the top 8 go through to tonight's final, and there were 4 under 106 there.
Also, we saw there Greg Butler in lane number 8. He actually broke Adam Peaty's records as he's coming through. So he swims at the same club, City of Derby, and he wants to follow in those footsteps of Adam Peaty, and is certainly ahead of the curve, so to speak.
Right, I'll give you the full 1 to 8. We have time. Zach Atkinson of Millfield, Joseph Burren of Newcastle in 2, Callum McBeath of Forest in 3, Chris Kerr of Warrender in 4, 5 is James Lewis of City of Cardiff, Jarvis Parkinson of Doncaster Darts in 6, Cameron Muir of South Ayrshire in 7, and Callum Smart of the City of Oxford in lane number 8. As we get further towards the 60 seeded heats, it should get tighter, certainly will get quicker, and looking particularly quick by his standards is Chris Kerr from just up the road at this one's Warren de Bart, just going for his first 50 turn. He's got quite an appreciable margin over the rest of the turn.
Yeah, he's the oldest swimmer in this field, but he has got a lovely technique. Nice glide, but also he's got that stroke rate to back up. One thing the breaststrokers can't do is spin, and by that I mean they're just spinning their arms, because that's when you slip water. breaststroke is one of those strokes you really need to grab hold of the water to propel yourself forward, and he is getting that, and he's just extending his lead over the field with every stroke. Also going very, very well is Zach Atkinson from Millfield in lane number 1.
Well, this is going to be a fairly sizable personal best. If he can come in now, he can. 103.75 for Chris Kerr, the winner of that. James Lewis in second place. So the win in the end was almost a second and a half between first and second place, which in heats at this kind of standard is appreciable. Third is Zach Atkinson of Millfield, and fourth to Callum Smart of Oxford. So that time 63.75, fastest we've had so far. So we're going to go on to heat number 5. Just had a message through when's Michael Phelps swimming, and this has changed allegiance and has now become British. We wouldn't say no to, of course, for the Rio Games. He will be at the American trials, which I think are in June. Normally 6 weeks out from the game, so it'll be the summer before we see Michael Phelps, see what Michael could do as he goes for yet another Olympic Games. Sydney, Athens, Beijing, London, now going for Rio. And we thought he'd retired. That's what he was telling everybody in 2012. Gave everybody the wave, say goodbye, and he'll be back in 2016 if he can qualify. It's not a gimme that he's actually going to qualify, to be honest. I think we will probably see Michael Phelps accommodated. Was a DQ for Joseph Burren, by the way, in that race from Newcastle. First DQ we've seen. It does happen on the breaststroke a bit more often these days. The technical aspects of that race have changed a little bit. Obviously, we keep an eye on the dolphin kick, but there are other little bits that are looked at now as well. As we get on to heat 5, and we have an Olympic silver medalist in this one, not in this event, of course. 200 breaststroke is where he got his silver medal, but Michael Jameson returns in lane 5 alongside Craig Benson in 4. So it's Simon Smith without his amazing dancing bear from Stockport in 1, Luke Spain of Hillingdon in 2, Callum Tate of Edinburgh in 3, Craig Benson in 4, Michael Jameson, not his best event, in 5, Richard Spoor of Loughborough in 6, Luke Davis in 7, Kevin Wallbank in 8. So what's Michael up to? Because Michael's moved between the last Olympics and this one from Bath to Edinburgh, so we're not expecting him to do great things here. Craig Benson, however, is a 100 specialist.
Yeah, he certainly is, and he actually qualified for London 2012, came second at the trials 4 years ago, and is certainly opening up very nicely. 28-28 for the first opening 50. Craig's actually had certainly a quiet 4 years, but this season he's really started to start putting the times in. We all thought that Craig was going to go on to bigger and better things over the last 4 years, but now he's starting to mature as a swimmer, and he's started over this winter term, put those times in, and you can see now he's just extending his lead, and he's looking fantastic in lane number 4.
Yeah, he's looking good now. What kind of time? Go sub-minute, go sub-minute, go on. No, not quite. 60.20. I thought we might have the first 60 sub swim there from Craig Benson. Second place going to Callum Tate in 101.84. Michael Jameson will have to hang on a bit, see whether he makes that final in 101.97. But yeah, Craig Benson getting very close to that 60 mark, which in the old days, not so long ago, was a really big thing. Go sub 60, and you really had made it. And Chris Cook, the first to do it at Ponds Forge a few years ago, but subsequently 58s, 59s are a fairly regular occurrence.
When you've got somebody going 57, those days have moved on quite considerably. Really excited to see Ross Murdoch now in lane number 4. His speciality is a 200 breaststroke, but bronze silver medalist at the World Championships last year in this event.
And Olympic finalist in the 200, Andrew Willis going in this as well. So the full list is Kieran Preston of Edinburgh in 1, another Edinburgh swimmer, Ewan Inglis in 2, Andrew Willis in 3 for Bath. University of Stirling's Ross Murdoch in 4, Zachary Hayden of 5 for Wolverine, Charlie Atwood of Bath in 6, Jamie Graham of University of Stirling in 7, Tristan Slater of Millfield in lane 8. Okay, what kind of shape is Ross Murdoch in? Very upbeat message I got from him at the weekend, saying I'm feeling good, feeling fine, think I can do something. He's coming very high out of that water as he went into that turn. 28.17 from Murdoch. Second is Andrew Willis, and third Charlie Atwood. Now bring it back, Ross. Let's have a sub 60 here.
Yeah, it's faster the turn than Craig Benson in the previous heat. You know, with Ross, he will finish strong, but so is Andrew Willis. Andrew Willis is going head to head with Ross Murdoch. Fantastic swim. Turned around about 0.4 of a second behind at the 50. He's trying to claw that back, but it is going to be Ross Murdoch that takes this heat.
He's going to take it. Now, come on. Both of you can go under a minute here if you try. 4, not quite. One does, one doesn't. 59.82. Good stuff, Ross Murdoch. Winning time for him, fastest time. The only person to go sub 60 so far. Andrew Willis really wants to get there. Almost got there. 1:00.27. And Charlie Atwood 1:01.22 in third place. So yeah, that's looking good from Ross Murdoch's point of view. Needs a bit more yet, but 59.82 is a good heat swim, and that's laid down a bit of a marker now for Adam Peaty.
It has, and you can also see that he backed off towards the last 4 or 5 metres, and that is a fantastic time to open up his account. His PB is 59.09, so he's 0.8 of a second away from his personal best, or 0.7, and that will stand him in great stead. There's the Man Mountain. The amount of size he's put on over the last 3 years, 3 years. He was a boy in 2013. Now he's a monster.
He is an absolute monster. And when it gets in the pool, he just shows everybody why he is and has been the best in the world. Doesn't have the best start, actually, in that race, but you wait and see what happens now. Adam Peaty, the others, Ed, because what we won't mention very often, Ed Baxter in 1 for Cockermouth, 2, Rob Holderness of Millfield, Chris Steeples of Manchester in 3, James Wilby of Loughborough in 5, Lawrence Palmer of Puttridge in 6, David Murphy of Oxford in 7, and Edmund Ashton of London Aquatics. So who's going to lead at 50? Well, I think we know, don't we? 27.39 it is for Adam Peaty at the turn, Lawrence Palmer in 2nd, and 3, James Wilby. We're seeing Ross Murdoch go sub 60. Adam Peaty has to go sub 60.
Yeah, that's a lot quicker. That's not far off from his world record pace that he turned in the 50. But you see his start's still got so much more improvement that he can do. It's almost like, oh, I'll give you a couple of meters and I'll just catch you up and I'll just destroy you over the rest of it. But this is a world-class swim. This is going to be quick.
Look at this time. This is going to be sub 59, is it? Yes, it is. Wow! Adam Peaty not holding back at all in the heats. Forget your sub minute. What about your sub 59? And he's done it. 58.74. He has blitzed that field. James Wilby will be happy enough with 60.28. But Adam Peaty, just a class apart, a class above everybody else. Ross Murdoch would be hanging on to his coattails with a time like that. 58.74. And if he gets that start right, because that was not the best start, he's got another half a second there, hasn't he?
To put that into perspective, 4 years ago we watched Cameron van der Burg win, 3.5 years ago, win the Olympics in a world record time of 58.5, 58.6. He's just gone 58.7 on the day one of the British Championships with 500 people in the crowd. Just, when he gets that adrenaline, when he gets 17,000 people roaring his name, there's no end to his potential and where he can go. And you just said his start is not the greatest. He's got so much improvement. It is not the finished article, yet he's the world record holder and the world champion.
Good stuff, both from Ross,
there was
but
certainly
what an
quite a lot
impeccable
of
performance.
clapping and cheering going on here at Tollcross, wasn't there, after that performance of Adam Peaty?
Today for me is the one that I was really watching. There's been 5 or 6 swimmers then within, less
We'll have a
than
look at Craig
second.
Benson first, actually, because that was a great swim.
Yeah, with him, and you can see him, he's there against Michael Jameson there, and he just was outside that 1 minute mark, really stretching away, just in a different class here. Michael Jameson obviously won a silver medal at the Olympics, and this isn't his best event, but it's nice to see him coming back. But Craig Benson really looking strong in that heat.
Yeah, and we'll have a look at Adam Peaty, because as I said, the crowd were going crazy over him. But I mean, would you say there's a lot of pressure on him coming into this event?
Yes, there is. There's always going to be pressure when you win a world silver medal, world gold medal even, going into Olympic year. But I think that Adam, he's got a good head on him. He's really grounded. His coach, Melanie Marshall, she's been there. She's been to several Olympics. She knows how to keep his head together, how to get the best out of him. And that's what's so important. He's done the consideration time in the heats this morning. But that isn't it. He's got to do it again in the final to be considered for the Rio Olympics.
And by sort of watching his performance just there Cassie? Do you look at that and think he's got more in the bag? He's going to
Definitely.
he's got a point to prove. He's up there on the world stage, and surely why not? Why would he not want to excel in the final?
He looks really relaxed, and that's a good thing. In breaststroke, if you start getting tight and you start tensing, you lose the feel for the water, and you don't grip the water as well, and you don't move forward as much as what you would do when you're more relaxed. And he looks amazing.
Okay, well, let's move on to our next event. It's over to Ross and Bob.
On to the final event of the morning. It is the women's 400 metres individual medley. We will have 5 heats of this, first of which contains 5 swimmers, and they are as follows. From Thanet Swim, Rosanna Arnold. 3 is Jessica Thompson of the City of Aberdeen. Tara Howarth of Lincoln Vulcans goes in 4. Neem Hofland of Royal Wolverhampton in 5. And Nikki Miller of East Kilbride will go in lane number 6. And if it's not hard enough, as it is for the IM swimmers, what do? They put the butterfly at the front to really test them, and by the time they get through the 100 of this, they're thinking, oh, I've got another 300 of this to go, because butterfly swimmers will always tell you about that elephant on their back when they get into the turn, especially on the 200, but in an IM, where you've got to try and measure everything stroke for stroke, the 100 really, the 100 butterfly takes it out of you, doesn't it?
Yeah,
not that you know, of course.
Well, you would know.
No.
Because you've done lots of 400 medleys in your time, Bob.
You'd be amazed.
Yeah.
So would I.
Yeah. When you're having a shower, you think you're doing it.
You saw me do it this morning.
Oh, dear. Yeah, get the butterfly one out the way. It is the hardest stroke. But it's also one that you can get into a rhythm, and it's great that you can get into the race as well. And this is such a fantastic race because the lead can change every single discipline. And I think that's why it's really exciting. When you get a head-to-head 400 medley, which hopefully we'll get tonight with the likes of Hannah Miley and Amy Wilmot, it's such a good race to watch.
In this field, only one swimmer has broken the 5-minute mark. That's Tara Howarth of Lincoln Vulcans. She is going in lane number 4, and she is leading by a considerable distance at the moment from the rest, so we obviously have the class act in the field. Well, as I say, when it gets to the breaststroke, things can change, and they often do change. Butterfly and backstroke tend to be fairly level playing fields, and then, as every IM swimmer will tell you, if they're not a natural breaststroker, it's a breaststroke that really does for them. But at the moment, looking nice and smooth, looking quite comfortable, and certainly with a appreciable advantage, it is Tara Howarth, but starting to put a little bit of pressure on is Nikki Miller from East Kilbride in lane number 6, but the gap's probably about 2 body lengths, maybe that, and now Neem Hofland is coming into the picture from Royal Wolverhampton in lane number 5.
We spoke about it on the 200 freestyle, but that third 15, it's the same again on the 400 medley. It's that third 100 that really is the important. It just so happens to be the breaststroke leg. And pretty much any swimmer can do freestyle, can do backstroke, and get away with the fly. But not everybody can do breaststroke. To me, that's talking from experience myself. Breaststroke is a different breed, and if you've got a strong breaststroke leg on a medley, you can go from 8th all the way up to 1st, and then as long as you can hold on to the freestyle, you can have a very good medley. I was just thinking that Adam Peaty should do this, because it doesn't matter if he can't do a butterfly backstroke. His breaststroke is so impressive that he'll just walk the way through the field and then finish stuff. But breaststrokers tend not to be great on the other disciplines, but if you've got a good breaststroke and you can do backstroke, fly and free, you can have a really good medley.
Well, we'll see Hannah Miley later in the programme, and it's a good case in point that her breaststroke was a little bit weak when she started in the IM, so she and her father, stroke coach Patrick, worked very, very hard on the breaststroke, knowing how important that was going to be to her in terms of getting world medals and European medals and potentially Olympic medals, so that she had to get that breaststroke right, and that was the thing, and she became a very good breaststroker individually when she was doing the 200 breast.
Yeah, because if you don't have a strong breaststroke, you really have to go out at the front end. You have to nail the butterfly, you have to nail the backstroke, and then you're holding on. And it's such a horrible feeling as a swimmer is when people are starting to catch you and go past you. Then if you've been leading for 200 because you've got a strong butterfly and backstroke and a weak breaststroke, you've then got to psychologically get over that and really finish strong on the freestyle.
Here's a good case in point, because Tara Howarth did have a 2 body length lead going into the breaststroke, and now she's a body length behind Neem Hofland, who's gone into the lead, 3:50.25. So the lead is about a second and a half now, but it comes down to who's got the better front crawl here, whether Neem can hold on in lane 5, because at the moment it does look like a 2-swimmer race. Lane 5, Neem Hofland against Tara Howarth. Howarth led for the first half of the race, but it looks like the second half of the race is going to be dominated by the swimmer from Royal Wolverhampton, who's never gone under 5 minutes before. Here's a good chance for her.
Certainly is an excellent chance. Got to come back in a 70 seconds, so 1:10. I think she will be doing that. Got 35 seconds to go under the 5-minute barrier mark. She's got a strong last 50 to go.
Yeah, looks like she should do that. And look at the gap she's opening up here. It was very tight between the two of them when they went into the wall, but now on this 100 front crawl, the 100 freestyle, she is pulling away from the field. The rest of the field are now coming back to Tara Howarth as well. Jessica Thompson and Rosanna Arnold are making a bit of move, but it's going to be by quite some considerable distance. Neem Hofland, who's going to go sub 5 minutes for the first time. 4:57.92 for Neem Hofland. Second place to Tara Howarth. She held on, but not as quick as her entry time, 5:01.15. And Jessica Thompson finishing in third place. So that's the marker from the first heat, 4:57.92.
It is all about that, building the momentum throughout the event. Strong butterfly, strong backstroke, getting onto your front, building that breaststroke and really finishing strong on that freestyle. And that's exactly what she did there. And coming up with an improvement on an entry time by a good 3 seconds.
Yeah, good stuff for her. And 8 more ready to go for heat number 2 of the women's 400 meters individual medley. Give you a little lowdown once they're in the pool. With a long hold, Lara Bate of City of Manchester in 1, Jennifer King of East Kilbride in 2, Kate McPhee of Newcastle goes in 3, Sophia Wilson of Guildford in 4, Lily West of Bath in 5, Lauren Ray of Loughborough in 6, Isabel Jones of Millfield in 7, and the other City of Manchester aquatic swimmer have 1 in 1 and 1 in 8, Isabel Meikle. So that's the lineup. This is the first 50 of the butterfly completed, and first to the wall is Jennifer King in 30.49.
It certainly is. Been a good first opening 50 from the butterfly. But you know, we talk about the breaststroke, and you know you've got to have a good breaststroke. But it also, if you do have a strong front end, and like you say, certainly Hannah Miley really worked on her breaststroke. If you have your weapons up front, and you can really stretch a field, and as long as you can work that breaststroke leg, you can almost get an unassailable lead on that freestyle. It is going to be lane number 5, Lily West from Bath University turning first, 64.96. Let's see what she's got on the backstroke. She is one of the fastest swimmers in this heat number 2.
Yeah, all 8 swimmers have been under 5 minutes, ranges pretty much from 4:56 to 4:59, but they've all broken that 5-minute barrier. But all of them looking to do personal best, all of them knowing pretty much they're not going to be in the final later on today. But this is all about progression for those who were born in the year 2000, year 2001, and 99, all around the kind of 15, 16, 17 age group we're looking at here for the 400 IM heat number 2. Jennifer King will lead, and that 50. Remember, we've got the breaststroke coming up next after the completion of this backstroke leg. Second place to Sophia Wilson, and third is Lily West. But we never want to make too many predictions, as was proved in that first heat, because it's basically the breaststroke leg that sorts everybody out. How good a breaststroke, I wonder, does Jennifer King have? Because she is starting to really open up on this backstroke, and will give herself about a body length to a body length and a half lead going into the wall over Sophia Wilson in lane 4, but now the breaststroke takes over. Let's see how these two shape up.
You're also seeing different techniques on the back to breast turn. Some people are doing the flip, which is a lot quicker, but it's a lot harder to perfect. And other people are just touching the wall and then rolling over to the front. It's one of those things as well, that if you can get your skills right, it doesn't matter what event, what distance you're doing, you give yourself such a better chance. And it makes swimming a lot easier. If you've got a good start, you look at someone like Adam Peaty, his start's not very good compared to the rest of the guys in the world. He's having to play catch-up. If he was one of the best starts in the world, he doesn't have to play catch-up. It's a lot easier. He doesn't have to swim as far. And it's the same with the skills, the turns. If you can stay underwater and you're quicker to stay underwater and use the underwater phase, you swim in less. So it's more efficient, and you should hopefully overall have a better time.
So we have a new leader. Sophia Wilson wasn't leading at the last 50 turn, but she is now, from Jennifer King, who set the early pace. And this is where the best breaststroker takes over. And in the field at the moment, it looks like the best breaststroker is the swimmer in lane number 4, Sophia Wilson from Guildford. Still trying to hang on to second place as best she can as Jennifer King on the far side. But coming back on the breaststroke leg is Lily West from Bath in 5. They've had some good breaststrokers down there. They've had some decent female breaststrokers in recent years. They've maybe got another one as part of the IM here in Lily West. She's making a little inroad on second, but not making much headway on first, because that's still Sophia Wilson from Guildford, 3:46.64 at the three-quarter-way split. Second is Jennifer King, and third is Lily West. That's a 1-2-3 with 75 metres to go for our leader.
Yeah, good breaststroke from Lily West, but she doesn't have that backstroke leg. She was leading after the fly, slipped back on the backstroke and then tried to claw it back on the breaststroke. But there's no doubt who's leading with 35 or 55 metres to go. It is lane number 4, Sophie Wilson from Guildford City. Really did take this event, this heat, by the scruff of the neck at the halfway stage, extended that lead on the breaststroke, and now is powering through on the freestyle. It really is difficult to, once you've gone behind on the breaststroke, is to catch it up. But Jennifer King from East Kilbride is doing a very good job on the freestyle, certainly cementing her second place, and hopefully, for her sake, really challenging the winner or the leader so far, Sophie Wilson.
Well, yeah, she's starting to fade as Jennifer King is coming, and Jennifer King is coming with every stroke, and Jennifer King is going to take this, I think. All the momentum is with lane 2. Sophia Wilson is edging off. It's going to be very tight on the turn, on the touch, rather, and Jennifer King gets it by 0.2 of a second in the end. She had all the momentum going into the wall there. 4:57.63 for Jennifer King. Sophia Wilson, who looked to have that race won, didn't quite have enough over the closing stages. Finished in second. We have 3 under 5 minutes because Lily West got there as well. 4:59.42.
Mentioned it already, but a lot at stake for a lot of these swimmers. There's 3 finals tonight. There's obviously the championship final, the open final, and then there's the junior and the Tokyo final as well. So the Tokyo final is for swimmers that have been, well, the age group's been identified for swimmers that hopefully are making the Tokyo Olympic Games in 4.5 years' time, but they'll be qualifying in 4 years' time from now.
So the clubs represented in this one: City of Leeds, City of Sheffield, Pioneer 79, City of Birmingham, Loughborough, Borough of Stockton, Aquasulis and First. The names of the swimmers you want to hear: Ciara Clausen of Leeds, Amy Bell in 2, Neem Robinson of Pioneer, Isabel Griffiths from Birmingham, Emma Day of Loughborough, Neem McConnor of Borough of Stockton, then Daniela Whitting of Aquasulis, and Chanel Snedden goes in lane number 8. That's your 1:28 in heat number 3 of the women's 400 metres individual medley. First 50 of the butterfly just being completed, and it's the outside smoker, lane number 1, Ciara Clausen, who leads, and she's the only one to go sub 30 on that first 50.
Yeah, strong opening 50 on this butterfly leg. We expect Emma Day to be up there on the fly from Loughborough University. She's the oldest swimmer, Emma Day. She went to the European Juniors a few years ago now for the fly as well. So, but it is the swimmer from lane number 1, Ciara Clausen of Leeds. This really is having a storming butterfly leg. She's going to touch in a time of 1:03.68, so over a second faster than the previous heat on that opening butterfly leg, but a fantastic underwater from lane number 3, Neem Robinson from Pioneer 79. Really, whatever that lead was 1.3 seconds on the touch. Completely eaten into that lead just on that underwater phase, that 10-15 metres. That's how important the underwater phase can be.
Look at the 18-year-old. She is this year, just trying to come through and take over the lead as she possibly can, but also Clausen is coming right back again. And, 2 turns, which we identified to you, were not equally as good. Emma Day now, though, has got herself in front. You had your card marked by Ross a little while ago that Emma Day would come through the field, and come through the field she has into first place. Her backstroke is stronger than anybody else's. Question now is how strong is her breaststroke when she turns from her back onto her front. But she's going to have probably about a body length lead, though coming strongly alongside her is Neem McDonough in lane number 6 of the Borough of Stockton. and 3 of them behind the leader. Won't be too far apart, but the leader has about 2 body lengths advantage going into the breaststroke leg. 2:19.64 at the halfway stage for Emma Day of Loughborough. Second place to Schlossen of Leeds, and third place Neem Robinson of Pioneer.
Really interesting to see lane number 1 and lane number 3 touch the wall exactly the same time. Well, actually, lane number 3 was 0.1 behind. Lane 1 did a touch turn, went onto a front and pushed off. Lane number 3 did a flip turn where it really rolled over, came up 2 meters ahead. So again, it's all about getting these skills in the swimmers really early and practicing and perfecting by the time they get to a stage like this, where they can use the skills to their advantage and use it as a weapon against the other competitors.
Just over 3 minutes for Emma Day on that turn, 3:00.38. Second place to Neem Robinson, and third Neem McDonough. So the 2 Neems right in there. They've got to catch our leader, who is very much our leader at the moment, because she's got fair margin over everybody else, though. Keeping an eye on the one coming back at her. That's Neem Robinson in lane number 3, but still a sizable advantage, although her stroke is getting shorter and shorter as she gets towards the wall, Emma Day, and she's losing a little bit of ground, but she's still got enough that she's going to have an appreciable advantage going into the last 100. So Emma Day will lead. 3:42. How big is that advantage? Well, it's actually 2.5 seconds she's leading Neem Robinson at that turn, so that's a lot to take into the last 100, and Neem McDonough in third place.
Yeah, certainly a clear lead for Emma Day in lane number 5, Loughborough University. Loughborough University want to see their swimmers really performing on day 1, first morning. Sets up when they've got a big squad like Loughborough have, when they bring to a championships like this, they want to all be firing. They all feed that confidence, feed off each other. When it's just you and your coach and you're a one-man band, so to speak, it doesn't really matter because you've got nothing to compare it. But when you come as a squad, it really is important that your early hitters get off to a good start.
So Emma Day with an entry time of 4:53.94 is going to be appreciably inside that. She keeps going at this kind of pace with 15 to go. She'll be looking at a good PB here and a good swim. Came into it in the second leg and started to develop her swim in the third and fourth. She's going to go just outside the 4:51s, 4:51.45, but that's much quicker than her entry time. Second place going to Neem Robinson, and Neem McDonough of the Borough of Stockton finishing in third place. Fourth going to Yara Schlossen, our leader after the first 100. She just broke the 5-minute barrier, 4:59.32.
Yeah, great swim from Emma Day. Was up there on the fly, not necessarily leading, but she was certainly up there, and then took scruff of the neck by the backstroke and the breaststroke, and then finishes off on the freestyle, improving entry time by over 2 seconds, and fastest of the morning so far in 3:51.45.
That will change though, because we got a lot of our Olympians coming up in the next heat, and it's an interesting tussle developing between Hannah Miley and Amy Wilmot. Amy, I always think of her as that young thing that came on the swimming circuit, but that's a long time ago now, and I knows that these are precious moments and precious events for her as she tries to aim for another Olympic Games in August. But Amy Wilmot will have something to say about that. Hopefully they'll both make the time and get there. Amy going in lane 4 for London Aquatics, where she is now. Chloe Hannam of City of Peterborough goes in 1. All Adams of Geary, which is Hannah Miley's club, goes in lane 2. Emily Siebrecht of Bath in 3. Georgia Coates 5 for City of Leeds. Then Amber Keegan of City of Sheffield. Constance Dean of Maidenhead in 7. And Emily Large of Newcastle in 8. This should all be about Amy Wilmot. We know how strong Amy is on the back end of her race.
Yeah, we saw a fantastic race, didn't we, in the Commonwealth Games in this very pool 2 years ago, or 1.5 years ago, between Amy Wilmot and Hannah Miley. Hannah Miley just getting the touch over Amy. But yeah, she's so strong on the fly. She's good on the back and she's good on the breaststroke, and she's got a really good freestyle as well. So she has got the all-round package, but it is actually Emma Large that's giving it large in lane number 8. turning first from Newcastle, the 62.87. So she's the early pace setter over Amy Wilmot in lane number 4.
Yeah, and her time compared to Amy's time, her best time is 20 seconds apart. 4:33 plays 4:53. So I don't think it's going to carry on that way for very long. As we look at Amy going on to the backstroke, but just interesting to see how Emily does. Emily part of the 01 Brigade, so she has no respecter of reputations here. We're looking at somebody who's 15 this year, and look at her go. I mean, she's going to be up in the top 3 at least at 150. She's third behind Chloe Hannum, who's 141.20 at the turn, but leading by a considerable distance. By a second and a half is Amy Wilmot, and well, she knows she has to make top 8, but she knows she's more than capable of doing that this morning.
Yeah, she's more than capable. She wants to get a good lane for tonight. Certainly, where you know what you're going to get from Hannah. You're going to get a very strong heat. She's going to put herself in one of the middle lanes. These two girls have to feed off each other if they want to get that. Certainly a time to get in front of the selectors on Monday next week. They have to work off each other, and they have to play to each other's strength to get them both onto that team, because it's a hard event. You struggle to race this on your own, racing the clock. So use each other. You want to be next to each other. So Amy Wilmot's want to put herself in the centre lanes. All the attention is going to be on her, but she also wants to do it with minimal amount of effort this morning.
Keep an eye on Chloe Hannum, who is in second place, and her entry time is in the 4:53s. So if she's that close to Amy Wilmot, she's going to get an appreciable personal best here, because she's, well, the rest of the field's all strung out, and nobody really putting much pressure on Amy, apart from Chloe in lane number 1, but she's still quite some way behind Amy. We're talking about, what, 3 seconds here? No, more than that, 4.5 seconds. Amy Wilmot, 2:53. Chloe Hannum, 2:58. And this is quite difficult now, because it is just basically Amy Wilmot against the clock. She hasn't seen anybody for ages, because nobody's been close to her. The only time she sees people when she's coming back, and they're going in the other direction, because she has a sizable lead. So there's a question of who's going to finish second and third here. And Georgia Coates is starting to make her move in lane number 5, but nobody's going to catch Amy here, because she's got a very strong 100 freestyle to come, and the lead is extending. It's about 10 meters now. 3:34.17 into the last 100 for Amy. In terms of time, we're actually going to get the split. Yes, we are. It's 7 seconds. It's 7.1 seconds between first and second.
Yeah, great leg from Georgia Coates on that breaststroke. We've already seen her this morning on the 200 meters freestyle. So she's going to finish strong, and she's probably going to cement herself in that second position. There's no way she's catching Amy Wilmot unless she stops and has a shower and gets out. But yeah,
she might still have time for that.
But yeah, no, a very strong swim. What we've seen from Adam this morning is he's put a world-class time in the heats, because he's going to have to do that. Hopefully, when he gets selected for the Olympics, he's going to have to swim really quick in the mornings, quick in the semi-final, and then back it up in the final. And it's hard to get that message across to people when selection is on the line. But this is a commanding swim from Amy Wilmot. It's not going to set the world alight in terms of time, but it's going to get her into tonight's final. She is backing off, she is easing off, and she is reserving all that energy, because she knows she's got a head-to-head with Hannah Miley.
Yeah, job done as far as Amy is concerned. She's not going to win it by 7 seconds in the end. Georgia Coates will be appreciably closer than she was at the last turn, but that was Amy Wilmot basically switching off and saying, right, I can glide in now, and that's what she did. 4:42.32, Georgia Coates 4:46, but Chloe Hannum has done a big PB, 4:50.60 to finish in 4th place, and Constance Dean, 4:49 is her time, and she's done a 4-second PB as well, 4:49.10. So behind Amy, some very good times, Georgia Coates, and from Constance Dean and Chloe Hannum, but that's the fastest of the morning, and there's plenty more to come from Amy Wilmot with a 4:42.
It certainly is. Certainly one swimmer I've been impressed with her for a couple of years, 3 or 4 years now, is Georgia Coates. Okay, she was off on a, well, she was probably 7 seconds off the lifetime best of 3:39, but she's already done that 200 meters freestyle. She could probably go tonight, do the 200 freestyle, get in the top 4 that will put her in contention for selection for Rio, and then come and back it up and race these girls tonight, because she's a super talent.
Well, some more super talents coming up here, including Rosie Rudin in lane number 5. We mentioned Hannah Miley already, but interesting to see what Rosie Rudin of Nova Centurion could do here, because another highly rated prospect in terms of coming through. We're talking about not only this Olympic cycle, but the next one as well. Rosie Rudin is certainly one of the names being talked about from Nova Centurion in lane 5. And there they are side by side. Hannah Miley in 4 from Geary. Other swimmers, Molly Roothouse of Stockport in 1, Candice Hall of Leicester in 2, Abby Wood of Loughborough in 3. We shouldn't discount her either, another name being talked about. 6th, Lucy McKenzie of Stockport. 7 is Abigail Humphries of Coventry, and Sophie Hobber of the City of Leeds in lane number 8. And the question is, that the interesting thing I'm looking for is to see how much pressure Rosie Rudin could put on Hannah Miley here.
Yeah, not a lot so far, but it is Abby Wood that's taken this event out, and Abby's got a great breaststroke. She used to come from Deventio XL, the Molly Renshaw, the breaststroke specialist, now both at Loughborough University, and she's having a fantastic opening 100 metres. But this is where Hannah comes into her own. You know, the middle part of the race, the backstroke, the breaststroke, and then having so much energy left on the freestyle.
Well, 3 of them virtually in a line. Lanes 2, Candice Hall. Lane 3, Abby Wood. And lane 4, Hannah Miley. And coming into the mix now is Rosie Rudin on the backstroke leg. And closest to us in lane 7, having a decent swim as well from Coventry, is Abigail Humphries. But this is where Hannah starts to turn things on a little bit. Doesn't like being headed, so it didn't like being headed 100, and it isn't headed 150. Well, she is just actually. Candice Hall getting the over, but 0.2 of a second quicker than Hannah Miley. Rosie Rudin's moved up into 3rd, Abby Wood into 4, and this is where I think Rosie Rudin will come right back into the race and might start to put a little bit of pressure on Hannah Miley. Candice Hall is having a very good swim. 4:48, I think is a...
Yeah, she's having a fantastic swim. She really is pushing pressure. You see now Rosie Rudin having a fantastic backstroke. You can see the stroke rate of Rosie Rudin is a lot higher than Hannah Miley. And she's now they're all coming into the wall pretty much together. Again, you're seeing that flip turn from Hannah Miley, Rosie Rudin. You're not seeing it from Candice Hall, and that is the difference, is why Hannah Miley has come up 2 metres ahead, or certainly 1.5 metres ahead of Candice Hall. Candice now has to keep hold of these swimmers, because Hannah Miley, this is where she goes. This is her strength. She's worked on it to make it her strength. It was a weakness, and now she's starting to extend her lead on the field. Rosie Rudin went to the World Juniors last year and picked up a gold, so she has the credentials to really fight, but she's just dropping back on this breaststroke. Candice Hall is not staying with Hannah Miley, but she's certainly extending her lead over Rosie Rudin.
Yes, she is, and Hannah Miley is well in front and well clear, as indeed we saw from Amy Wilmot in the previous heat. This is going to be a bit of a procession now for Hannah. 2:53.17 on that breaststroke turn, with 150 still to go. Still got the freestyle leg to back this all up, and well, the lead extending all the way. Candice Hall, however, is holding on to 2nd place. Wait and see if anybody's going to challenge her for 2nd. And at the moment, not seeing quite what I expected from Rosie Rudin. In fact, she's being pressurised by Abby Wood now in lane number 3. She had a good start, and she's having a good breaststroke leg as well. But look at the gap as they come in now. There's Hannah coming into the turn. 3:32.39 for Hannah, and the gap is how long? It's appreciable. It is 7 seconds between 1st and 2nd. Candice Hall, 3rd is Abby Wood, and Rosie Rudin at the moment is quite a long way back in 4th.
Yeah, Abby Wood have a fantastic breaststroke. We knew she would do. She is a breaststroker. She's 200 breaststroke in the 400 IM swimmer, and she really has propelled herself into that 3rd position, and now she's really battling for the 2nd position with Candice Hall. But if we get her binoculars out and we look far out into the field, we can see Hannah Miley really extending her field. I actually thought Hannah didn't look very good to 200 metres, and now look, she's absolutely blown the field away. And she's well, this is just, again, it's one of those swimmers that now is taking it easy, backing off, reserving that energy.
She is backing off, but not to the same extent that Amy Wilmot did. She's still kind of carrying on, and she won't know how close anybody else is. She'll believe that she's a long way clear, and she is a long way clear. She's going to win this at a canter, and it's a sub 4:40, which is what she's looking for. 4:38.48 for Hannah Miley. The gap between her and the rest of the field is substantial. It is 8 seconds in the end. Abby Wood finishing in 2nd, 4:46.57. Candice Hall in 3rd, 4:47. And from my point of view, I was expecting a bit more from Rosie Rudin. I've got to say, 4:48.89 in 5th place. So we'll wait till the board revolves a moment. We're going to get all the swimmers in, of course, and here comes Molly Roothouse to finish off the Stockport Metro in 5:07. We're going to wait and see. There's Hannah looking, happy enough, just relating the time. Because it's just a long way away, that scoreboard.
It doesn't matter how easy you take a 400 medley, it's still going to hurt, it's still going to make you out of breath. And you can see there, she looks as pretty much as in good shape as she ever been. I saw her on poolside and she looks so lean, she looks so strong. She's such a small swimmer, so she has to have that power, and she seems to be really strong physically to be able to make up what she's lacking in certainly her height.
I'll tell you who's made it through. Constance Dean, Rosie Rudin have both made it through right in 7th and 8th place, in case you're wondering, and easy qualification for both Hannah Miley and for Amy Wilmot as well. So the 400 IM all wrapped up. Finals of all the events, of course, later on today here at Tollcross.
Well, yet again, another fantastic race, another fantastic performances from the likes of Hannah Miley and Amy Wilmot as well. I mean, we see it in the men's breaststroke, the 100 and the 200 having, you know, the rivalry between British swimmers. How good is that for Amy Wilmot to be sort of chasing Hannah Miley all the time?
It's what you need, and that's what keeps driving these swimmers forward. You saw it in the 100 breaststroke earlier, when in each heat there was that head-to-head race all the way through, and you just saw it then. Although Hannah and Amy were in different heats, you can see it now coming into the finish that they still know. So Hannah knew what time Amy did coming in. Amy's an up-and-coming talent in an incredible programme. She trains at the Olympic pool at the Aquatic Centre in London, so that kind of inspires her every day. And she looked very comfortable there in that heat. And then obviously Hannah coming through, posting a slightly faster time, but it's going to be a really, really interesting final.
Bit of a battle, bit of a duel in the pool tonight, Cassie, do you reckon?
And that's what you need, and that's what all these swimmers want. We're all born competitors, we all love to race, and it's that kind of head-to-head, who's going to get it, who's going to be faster, can I play to my strengths, can I play to her weaknesses, which makes the sport so exciting.
Yeah, and as I said, the duel in the pool, Hannah versus Amy, this British rivalry that we actually love to see. I mean, it's fantastic for British swimming to have two performers there pushing each other on, leading up to, of course, the Rio Olympic
And I mean,
Games.
it really does help strive them forward, and that rivalry is what they need. They're going to be racing the best in the world. You know, whatever competition they go to, they're going to need that. So to be able to race, to be able to get in there and be tough from the beginning is what all of these swimmers need, and that's what really has developed in the last kind of 8 years since when I was competing at Beijing, and that's what I'm really looking forward to.
Was it that long ago, Cassie?
I know it
Oh,
was.
yeah,
It
feels
really
like
was.
2 minutes ago.
It was. Yeah, I've been retired for 5 years.
Now, would
so-
you have made the final with your selection times?
Well, I wouldn't have made Beijing with my PB for the selection times for the 800 metres freestyle. I wouldn't have made it. My PB was 8:24, and the selection time is 8:21 or 8:19
Right.
for table 2. So, yeah, I wouldn't have made it, which is good because that means that British swimming is really progressing. It's really moving forward.
Yeah.
We can't stand still. The rest of the world isn't standing still.
Yeah.
So we need to always be on the ball and be moving forwards.
Yeah, well, listen, I hope you've enjoyed it so far today. Please make sure that you keep your tweets coming in. Hashtag BSC16. We've had loads of people viewing this morning. As I mentioned earlier, we are going to be live for all the heat sessions, all the finals. We're going to be getting swimmers interviews with coaches, managers as well. Exclusive footage of the events as they unfold. Now, they're going to be unfolding tonight. Of course, we have the consideration for nomination times. I'm being very careful how I say that. We've tonight got 12 finals in total. We've seen 4 events this morning. We have the junior finals, the Target Tokyo finals and the Open finals. What can you tell me a little bit about those 3 different finals that we're going to see tonight?
I think it's so important that the juniors have their chance to go and race and get there, especially the guys that are on for the Target Tokyo. They could be selected, depending on their time, to go to the European Championships in May. And it's all about developing their talents, seeing what there is, and getting them to race in a final here at this lovely pool.
Yeah, have you enjoyed yourself so far this morning?
It's been wonderful.
Yeah.
It's been great. I've loved it.
And who are you going to be looking out for tonight? Men's 400 freestyle. We mentioned James Guy had a very relaxed performance, shall we say, in the pool earlier.
Yeah, James Guy, I think everybody's going to be snapping on his heels. He is the guy to beat, literally. And but I think Nicholas Granger, he looked a little bit ropey. I'm not going to lie, he looked a bit tight.
You were quite surprised by his
I
performance
really
this
was.
morning, weren't
Yeah,
you?
he didn't look like he was taking it easy, which is a bit. I hope he was, but he did look like he is working quite hard for that time.
Yeah. Now, you're impressed with Jazz Carlin in the women's 200 freestyle. What are you going to expect to see from her tonight?
I would love to see her get close to the British record set by Joanne Jackson way back in 2000.
I don't think Jo will be too happy with you saying that.
No, I know, but I mean, in the flip side, Jo will be happy that swimming is progressing, but it's held for such a long time. 2009 it was set, and it's a really hard time. It's 1:55, be a second PB for Jazz. But this is all about her just getting used to racing, ready for the races kind of coming up.
And of course, we have the men's 100 breaststroke, Adam Peaty, the one to watch for that one, and the women's 400 metres individual medley, as we mentioned, that battle between Hannah Miley and Amy Wilmot. Loads to come tonight, so make sure you are right back here for the live stream at 6:20 tonight, where we will be going live, and all the action's going to be unfolding and starting at 6:30. So tonight, 6:20, set your alarms on your phones right now. Make sure you're back here. From myself and Cassie Patton, thanks for joining me today. It's been fantastic tonight. It's going to be even better. We'll see you in the finals.